It's time for Tiger Talk, presented by Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room. Old Chicago, amazing craft beers and food, north of I-70 in Hayes. Old Chicago, share, reconnect, celebrate. Tiger Talk is also brought to you by these premier Tiger sponsors. Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, providing the best in-home loans to the Tiger community since 1920. The Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute, part of the University of Kansas Health System and the official physicians for Fort Hays State University Athletics. The certified public accountants of Adams, Brown, Barron, and Ball. Your trusted advisors providing you with commitment, experience, and integrity. BTI, your John Deere dealer, with locations in Buckland, Great Bend, Greensburg, Hoxie, Ness City, and Pratt. BTI, Valley Hope of Norton. Get help and find hope. The Taco Shop. Dine in, carry out, or delivery. You've never had it so good. Horizon Appliance and Mattress. TVs, appliances, Traeger grills, and Tempur-Pedic bedding. Open 7 days a week at 1501 East 27th in Hayes. And Eagle Communications. Internet, TV, phone. Eagle Communications. Our community connected.
And a happy Monday. Welcome into Tiger Talk. Gerard Welbrock, head football coach Chris Brown, as we talk Fort Hays State football. Tigers wrapping up another MIAA championship on Saturday, now setting their focus on the University of Indianapolis in the opening round of the NCAA Division II playoffs. We're at Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room, recorded over the noon hour on Mondays. Old Chicago, they're your craft beer authority. They have over 40 rotating draft beers, so you can stop by today or enter any day north of the interstate. Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room. We are glad to have you part of the program here today as a happy Monday, and it's always a happy Monday after a Tiger win, and especially this last Saturday as head coach Chris Brown joins us. 58-0. You beat Northeastern State. We talked about it last week. I mean, going into it, you're the better team. I mean, it was very obvious. But I think what I liked about the game, and I'm sure you did too, 3 and out on defense, 3-play drive, you scored. Looked like your team took the same approach, the same focus, the same energy going into that game as they did for the Northwest, as they did for any other game this year. You didn't see a letdown from your team. They played well.
Yeah, they did. You know, that was a scary part of that game. You know, knowing we were the better team, knowing they hadn't won a game all year long, and but our guys staying focused and locked in and coming out playing fast and playing aggressive and physical, you know, from the get-go. I mean, I was proud of it. I mean, from the very first kickoff, you know, we kind of set the tone for that game, and defense did a good job, you know, getting that first 3 and out, getting the ball back, going down and scoring quick. You know, just kind of put it in the back of their head that, hey, this is going to be a tough game for us, and we scored 2 quick more, and, you know, then that game's, you know, all the way out of hand. So proud of our kids. You know, they really prepared that week. Had a lot of things happen through that week, you know, with different things, and a lot of just kind of, well, not distractions, but things that happen, you know, in our family and the kids, our football family that we had to take care of. And, you know, but that was probably the way the kids reacted to everything we did, but prepared themselves and came out and played hard and played fast and played physical. And
you couldn't draw it up any better. You go 3 and out, you score. You go 3 and out, you score. You go 3 and out, and you score. I mean, it's barely 5 or 6 minutes in. It's 21-0, and the game was, in a sense, over. Took any doubt, as you said, and then it allowed, as the game went on, some younger kids to play and play significant minutes. So everybody got into the act, and, you know, kind of a victory lap, I guess, for lack of a better word, but it was a fun way. And maybe the first time in a month and a half your team could exhale and breathe a little bit and not have quite that pressure after you knew you're in good shape, and enjoy and kind of relish what you guys had accomplished to win the MIAA title.
Yeah, it was. You know, it was finally good as a coach too, just to sit back, relax, take a breath, and just enjoy the game, enjoy the kids, and watch them perform and watch them play, and watch them have a good time, and the opportunity for some of those young kids to really get in and get some playing time, because they need that playing time, because, you know, we're going to, you know, expect some of those kids to play for us next year, and the more they get in the game now, the more comfortable they're going to feel and be prepared. But I was so proud of these kids. I mean, the way the whole year went. I mean, it was up and down, and they finally buckled down those last 5 games, got 5 wins in a row, and ended up being conference champs. But that was a fun game. I enjoyed it, and we stayed healthy. And that's the most important thing. We stayed healthy.
Well, remember Week 11 last year was not a good week in that regard. We talked to players throughout the year, and again last week, and I know we've talked to you about it. Since that Emporia game, something clicked, something changed. I know you challenged them and kind of said, you're playing for pride, and they wanted to prove you wrong, but you can feel it. There's a camaraderie, a brotherhood. I mean, just talking to the players, the closeness, and doing your job. Let your teammate do his job. That's all changed, and it's become a great locker room, and you can feel a difference since that Emporia State game. This is a different team.
It is. They have a sense of urgency. They have a sense of holding people accountable and making sure they're doing things the right way as well, and they're a whole different group than they were, the first 4 weeks of the season, even the first 5 weeks. I mean, but there's good things happening right now in that locker room. Kids are positive, they're motivated, but they're holding each other accountable, and guys aren't doing things the right way. If somebody's cutting a corner, they're on them. They figured it out, and it's a great senior class as well, with just their leadership and the things that they do. I mean, we have our kids talk our seniors every year talk, last practice, before the last game, and, we did that last week, and probably the best words of inspiration for those young men of really how to do it, why you're here, and, those 10 seniors did a good job of explaining how Tiger football is and expectations now and what is expected and the standard, and they set that standard. This group has really set the standard for Tiger football, and and don't let these guys down. They said this is the one thing you can't go back now. You got to keep moving forward, and this is what people expect of you, and that's what we expect of you too.
Well, and it's fun. I mean, obviously expectations, you got to deal with them and play with that pressure, but nice to have those expectations because of where the program has built to compared to what it was, before this senior class, because they kind of, we talked about it last week, stepped in. They've won every year. They even won when they're a redshirt year.
Yep.
I mean, they know winning football at Fort Hays State, and that's kind of the standard now. And while, that's hard to achieve, and everybody's got to work hard, it's nice to be at that point where that's the expectation each and every year.
Yeah, it is nice. And it really started when I first got here. Even that first group, even though they were 4-7, those kids worked hard every day. They understand, they figured out how to win some ball games and do things right. And I mean, every year has just gotten better and better. And it's the kind of kids we get to. We've got great character kids that do things the right way, that are involved in our community, work hard in the weight room, work hard in the classroom, work hard on the football field, and truly do care about football and their teammates. And that took a while, but it's been like that for quite a while now. It's just those other groups didn't get the chance to really relish that and be part of it, but they still are a big part of why we are here, because without those guys believing in me and what I was doing, we wouldn't be where we're at. But it's cool to see. It is fun to win, and that's just kind of expected now, and there's nothing wrong with that. I expect it every day because we want you to be winners in life as well, and that starts on the football field. Learn how to win on the football field. You're going to win in life too.
Always took those first groups, kind of laid the foundation, and they're still a part of it. And we see them on sidelines coming to games, and that's a really cool thing to see. We're going to take our first break. We'll come back, talk more about the game Saturday, take a preview look at the UIndy Greyhounds as we move along. Tiger Talk brought to you by Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room. It's home of the World Beer Tour, 110 beers from around the world. You can ask for details the next time you're here at Old Chicago and begin your World Beer Tour. Old Chicago, your pizza and craft beer authority. We will take a break. We'll have more with the coach on Tiger Talk here along the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction.
I'm Patty Stoll, broker-owner of Coldwell Banker Executive Realty. We want your dreams to become a reality. Coldwell Banker Executive Realty prides itself in putting you first.
So Reed and Beaverly, wide receivers lined up to the left, Hazlett to the right. There's going to be a shovel pass to Dandre Reed, who takes it into the end zone. Touchdown, Fort Hays State. The first career receiving touchdown for Dandre Reed. A shovel pass from Mazzara. It's 13-0 Fort Hays State. Yeah, some of the action from Saturday. Dandre Reed getting into the act. He gets his first touchdown reception as the Tigers built the early lead. We're at Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room and record Tiger Talk over the noon hour, and it's a place to watch all of your favorite football games. And while you're here, you can join the OC Rewards program, free to all new members, as you receive a free appetizer for up to $10 after your first transaction. It's Old Chicago, your pizza and craft beer authority. We mentioned the Tigers getting off to a good start. Jacob Mazzara, the senior, got the nod at quarterback, had another big game, and we talked a little bit about last week and the whole scenario. Handled it with class and came back and had a great game. And 3 touchdowns. He did have the 1 interception, but he's going to leave Fort Hays State as the all-time record holder in just about every passing category, and it was fun to see him have a good game and play well and guide you guys to the quick start and to the nice win.
That was awesome. Jake's such a great kid, a great family as well. His whole family was here. His brothers were here, his mom, dad, and it was just cool to see them, on the field as well and enjoying this experience of Jake being here and what he's done here. He's done tremendous things here with all the records and being a great leader, great work ethic, did well in the classroom, going to graduate, those are all the cool things you see about Jake. And he's done it all right, never been in trouble, never done anything wrong. I don't think he's ever missed a meeting, missed a workout. He hasn't missed anything. And, set up all the 7-on-7s in the summer and lifting. And, great kid. I can't say enough good things about him and his family and what they've done for this program.
And I think what people may not realize, he's one of the stronger guys on the team. You look at his body, how it has transformed from his first year on campus. He's put together, and you can see why he's successful. He's worked hard in those things you have to do in the offseason and off the field to become a good player.
He does. He does everything right. He puts the right things in his body. He watches what he eats and makes sure he gets enough protein and carbs. Him and Matt are kind of the same way. They live together too, but it's kind of weird. A lot of college kids don't think about those things a lot. They just eat whatever's there, but these two really think about what they're putting in their body and their workouts, and they've done a good job. Jake has really transformed his body since he first got here. We're talking to Chance right now that he needs to start looking like that because he doesn't look anything like that right now.
He may have more work to do.
So. But Jake's a good kid. He does it right. He works hard, and he's been fun, and I've enjoyed him. And we are going to miss him when he's done here.
How do you handle the quarterback? It's see how the matchup goes. How do you go about it for the playoff game?
Same way, just kind of look and see what they're doing defensively, and what's going to help us out best, and who we feel is going to be best for that game. And watching UIndy, it's going to be a tough one for us to decide, but. I think Jake could get in there and do a good job for us, and also I think Chance can too. So we're just got to go with who we think is going to fit best on game day, and who's feeling it, who has the best practices this week, and go from there.
Kind of like you do every position going into it. We heard the highlight. Dandre Reed got a little more time. Nice catch. And we've seen him in kick returns and special teams, but a potential to be a good receiver for you guys and kind of seeing him grow in that area. He had a nice game on Saturday.
He did have a good game. He made some nice plays for us, and we wanted to get in some confidence, because we're going to need him here down the stretch, in these games especially. So, every kid will get ready to play and get after it and compete at a high level. We got to get him ready. And, he's one of those kids he's got good speed. He's explosive, got pretty good hands and sees things pretty well. It's just junior college kids, they struggle when they come in to pick up the offense or the defense. It just takes time, and it usually takes them about a full year to really understand what you're doing. And, you don't get them in the spring. It's hard to get them coached up and taught just through the summers, with the players doing it and then get them through fall camp. But as time goes on, he's only going to get better, because he'll get more comfortable with our systems and what we're doing. But, I can see him being a real force here, here late in the season for us.
You look at that game, you guys physically you could just tell we're the better team and we're able to run the ball pretty well. You got over 200 yards, I think. Astronomical record when you do that, and most teams when they rush for 200 yards have success and find ways to win, but it's so noticeable. The offensive line was blowing them off the ball, and it was 5 yards downfield before they got contact. You're able to get the backs off the edges and have a lot of success that way.
Yeah, it was. We did have some success running the ball, and we needed to do that and get some confidence in our run game. Northeastern, they don't have the numbers either. I think they only traveled 45, 50 kids, and I think they only had 4 or 5 D linemen, and those kids get tired and they get worn out, and then they get easy to move. So hopefully that doesn't give our guys a false sense of security or thinking that we can really run the ball and get after it. But that's how we need to go to in every game. We got to be able to establish a run game and get it going. And so hopefully they get some some excitement about what we're doing offensively and understand we're trying to run the ball and we're trying to be physical up front and just get some confidence, going into this game as well. So we'll see how it works out for us.
We talked last week expecting anything from these guys. Last game of the year, I mean, nothing to lose. And looked like you guys kind of went deep into playbook and saw Harley throw the ball. You guys kind of expand a little bit of what you're doing. Is that kind of by design to maybe get it on video for teams to think about?
Yeah, you have to. We've run more trick plays this year than we've ever have, and it's just we got some guys that we can do those things with. Harley can throw the ball very well. He runs the ball very well, and there's just different things you can do with those guys. So. You got to get it on film and make teams prepare for it because, now when they see Harley with the ball, what's he going to do? Run the ball, pass the ball, so they're kind of timid, so that gives us an extra chance to make a play. So got to get it on film. Got to make teams prepare for it. Defensive guys hate seeing those things, but as offensive guys, you got to make them get ready for it.
Well, I saw a little bit of that on Saturday. The Tigers get the big 58-0 win. Most points scored in an MIAA game for Fort Hays State, and was awfully close to setting the school record for total points scored in a game as they win at 58-0 over the Riverhawks. Tigers 9-2, MIAA co-champions along with Northwest Missouri State. We're going to take another break. We'll come back, talk more about the game Saturday, look ahead to UIndy. The Greyhounds, that's the Tigers' first-round opponent in the Division II playoffs. We're at Old Chicago, recorded over the noon hour on Monday, so make your plans to join us next week for lunch, where you can try one of their great pizzas with dough made fresh daily. It's all at Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room, north of the interstate in Hays. We will take a break, be back with more on Tiger Talk here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction.
Ready to discover something new? The next time you're in your car, tune your radio to 94.3 FM.
It's here.
It's Hayes' greatest hits.
Love it.
On 1400 KAYS and 94.3 FM. Do you believe in love? Story.
Well, 94.3 FM, KAYS. Go ahead, check us out.
Second down and 3. The Tigers down to the 24. Fuller throws to the end zone. It's going to be caught. Touchdown! Fort Hays State. Lane Beaverly. A diving catch to the near sideline. And it's 13-0 Tigers. Well, that was some of the action from 2 weeks ago against Northwest Missouri State, but that was fun to relive. Lane Beaverly did get a touchdown catch on Saturday to start the possession off. A nice catch from Jacob Mazzara, and the Tigers go on to win 58-0. We're at Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room, north of the interstate in Hays. We record Tiger Talk over the noon hour on Mondays. Of course, playback in the evenings here on Tiger Radio Mix 103. So make your plans next week to join us for Tiger Talk. Hopefully talking about more Fort Hays State University football as the Tigers get set for a first-round playoff game. Second straight MIAA championship. You share it with Northwest Missouri State, but you still had a trophy. And it was obviously great last year in Maryville to win it, the first one, and the emotion of winning that game. And you had that same emotion winning, but you knew you had more work to do. But to get to celebrate at home with friends and family, that was fun. And it doesn't always happen that way, but it was neat for your team to get to celebrate with one another on their home field. That was a pretty cool touch at the end of the game.
It is, especially you don't have people trying to kick you off their field to celebrate with their own fans. But it was good to see our fans that were there that came to support us and that have been by us the whole time, through the whole season. You as well, you guys. Celebrating with you guys. It's awesome to see having Curtis Hammocky and Tisa Mason and all those that have been involved with our program there, and it is fun. It's a really exciting time for our kids and their families that were there. It's senior day too, and their parents being able to experience that and the closeness of our team and how tight a bond that they truly have. But it's an experience you'll never forget, and but you want more of them.
Oh yeah,
you want to get a lot more of them. But it's fun to go back to back. I don't know the last time that a team's done that besides Pitt or Northwest.
I think they're the last two to do it.
It's good for Fort Hays State and the progress that we've made over the years, and just our kids. Them putting the time and the effort in to get to this point, and the hard work they put in. It's amazing, and I love them, and it's a lot of fun.
And you're always one to, from God to the wives and your kids and everybody involved to be thankful for all the success you've had. But it's obviously you guys and your coaching staff and the players, but it's bigger than that. I mean, there's a lot of people involved to help turn this thing around. It just didn't happen with your hiring and your assistants. Obviously, that was a big key, and the players you brought in. But it is a big family for the whole athletic department, to the community. A lot of hands involved in this to build this thing up to where it is right now.
It is, just the recruiting part of it. You got tons of alumni that send players in. Hey, got a kid we're looking at. We've seen this kid here. We've seen this kid there, and that helps us tremendously. The support on Saturdays with the crowds being loud and cheering us on, and the administration doing the things that we need to do to keep this thing going with facilities and uniforms and equipment and scoreboards and all those different things. You guys putting us out there as well on the radio and hearing your guys' voice and the things that you do, and just all those things. It goes hand in hand. It doesn't. It's not just one guy doing the job. It's everybody in this together. I'm not going to take any credit at all.
Well, you
I'm really
should take a little bit of it.
But, I got a great staff. I got great kids, great administration, great community. It's just, great friends and, and God. God's really the biggest part of it. Our faith in Him and Him being faithful to us and us just believing in Him and trusting in His plan and what He's doing for us, and the plan's working out.
All part of that brotherhood. We've heard a lot of – we've always heard it, but we've really heard that brought up when getting to talk with players each and every week and the importance of that. And every team's different. And I think going into this year, you felt you could be successful. You lost some key players, but you had a lot of good ones back. You're excited about some of the youngsters getting their first opportunity, and they've really shined. But kind of going back to that first segment, just you never know, and it's taken a little bit longer for this team to kind of get to that place, but they have. And, boy, when it comes together, and in some ways maybe even more rewarding when it has, because it's been a little bit more difficult, I think, this year with some of the ups and downs. But when it finally comes together, it's really fun to watch.
It is, and it's just kids finding their role in this team. Last year, we had a tremendous wide receiver, and now who was that going to be this year? Was it going to be you, Beebs? Was it going to be you, Harley? Who's going to step up and do that job? And Matt Wendelberger, are you going to step up and do a great job? Who's going to fill in for those O-linemen, and running back-wise, we lost Aheem, and who's going to step into those spots? And you look at the secondary. On the defensive side, same thing. We lost Nathan Shepard. That's a big part of our defense last year. And who's going to step up and get the job done? And guys, it just took time for guys to figure out, hey, it's my turn. I got to be that guy, and I got to lock in and focus and get the job done and be there for my team and be there for my brothers. And it took a little bit longer than what we wanted to, but it's all working out. And those guys really stepped up and done a great job of getting us where we need to be.
You got to play some younger kids, especially for most of the fourth quarter. Even the second half started to sprinkle them in here and there. And I know you said it after the game, and you've said it before. You can do all the reps in practice you want, but to get in a game, even if it's a blowout game like it was, to get in a game, so valuable.
Yeah, because those kids haven't played, so blowout to them, it's still 0-0. They're still going to go out there and compete and show what they can do. They don't want to make a mistake, and especially with no points on the board, and give up an easy touchdown.
Well,
which we almost gave up a field goal there, but thank goodness for the penalty and have to do the re-kick. But it is important those kids get in the game. Special teams is one thing, but actually playing a defensive or offensive snap, it's totally different because it's a true assignment. Special teams are assignments and doing your job, but it's so much different than just getting those offensive and defensive snaps because that one play, I really truly think it's like 10 to 12 plays in practice, and they need those reps to get themselves ready and just the energy and the excitement of the game, just to be able to calm their nerves and know that they can do it.
It was fun to see. You lose some very good seniors, so I know some of those guys we saw in the second half are going to be battling for starting jobs next year, and you've kind of gotten it to where next man up, so to speak, but you've got the redshirt freshman, the sophomore. They do the work. When it's their turn, and so far that's worked out well. Those guys have been good enough to fill those voids and not miss a beat.
Yeah, it is. Every game we have a pregame meal, and you have guys stand up. You did your seniors. We had like 10 seniors this year, and then we said juniors. There's like 22 of those guys, next year. And then we went sophomores, which is a bigger class as well. And your freshman classes, it was always kind of big because you got redshirt freshmen and freshmen in there, but just retaining these kids is the most important. If we can retain them, because that's what a lot of our kids are talking about. They first got there. There's 30 of them. Now they're down to 10. Stay in it. Stay involved. Don't quit on your teammates. Don't quit on your brothers. Get your grades. Do things right. In the community. Don't get yourself in trouble so you can stay part of this team and be great. And that's what those seniors were talking about. Don't make an excuse to find your way out here. Stay with us. Stick with it, and you'll be successful. And that's all we got to try to do, try to keep all 22 of these juniors and all 20 or 25 of those sophomores all the way through, because the more guys you got, the better your depth, and there's more competition on the field, and you got to compete to play.
Now, we've seen some of those young guys. There's a lot of talent out there, and looking forward to seeing them as they continue to vie for those starting jobs in the years ahead. We're going to take another break. We'll take a little look at the UIndy Greyhounds in the first round of the Division II playoffs, which begin this upcoming Saturday. We'll do all of that when we return to Old Chicago, where we record the program during the noon hour on Monday. So make your plans to join us next week for lunch, or stop by anytime. Old Chicago, burgers, sandwiches, salads, and distinctive taproom fare. Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room, serious craft brews, seriously good food. Back with more after this on the Tigers Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction. Hi, everyone. This is Gerard Wellbrock inviting you to join us for Tiger Talk. We record it over the noon hours Mondays at Old Chicago, north of the interstate in Hayes, and play it back at 6 o'clock Monday nights on Tiger Radio Mix 103. You can also catch it on Eagle TV's Channel 14 and 614, Tuesday and Wednesdays at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m., and always on HaysPost.com. So join us for Tiger Talk over the noon hour Mondays at Old Chicago. Down and 10. Tigers of the Riverhawk 42. There's a stretch play to Hazlett, and the former high school quarterback throws. Beaverly open. Touchdown, Fort Hays State. Harley Hazlett to Lane Beaverly. It goes for 42 and a Fort Hays State touchdown. I know we've talked about it before. Throws a touchdown pass to his wide receiver mate, Lane Beaverly, and the Tigers lead 20-0. Interrupted myself. I know we've talked about it, but to have a guy like Harley, and obviously he's a good receiver and he's really evolved this year, but the fact he's a former high school quarterback and just that ability to throw it, not just throw it, but, I mean, so many times you see receivers, I mean, they're going to throw it either way, but to make that decision, it's got to be a little bit more trust knowing he was a high school quarterback and maybe a little bit better in that regard than just a receiver trying to throw one of those passes.
Yeah, because usually those receivers, they think they can throw any ball. You know, I mean, that's just how they are, but knowing Harley truly can throw a football. You know, running backs think they can throw footballs, tight ends, you know, but having a guy that's really, truly done it, you know, in high school and having that ability to do it, it just makes your offense so much more dangerous, because you never know what's going to happen when he has the ball in his hands. And you know, it's not very often you hear a wide receiver to wide receiver, you know, catching a touchdown pass. And it was cool to see those two do it, because they're a big part of our offense and the things that we're doing. But you know, he's a weapon. You know, we got to still continue to find ways to use him differently. And a lot of people call him a tight end, but he's not a tight end. He's big enough to be one.
Yeah, he's built like one.
But you know, just his speed and the things he can do has really helped our offense evolve.
Well, he sold that play well. I mean, just looked like he was going to run, and you've done that so many times, and then pulled up, and you could see it develop. It was really, really fun to watch. We'll talk about the Greyhounds a little bit. Just want to ask you about the playoffs again, and the fact you made it last year. Obviously, you had the first round bye, and a disappointing kind of taste in your mouth at the end of just a remarkable 11-0 regular season. How much does just that experience of having been to the playoffs help not only your team, but even you guys as coaches and how you go about it? Because obviously a little different now. You got to play right away next week, where last week you had that extra week in there with the bye. But just the experience of being in the postseason last year, how does that help?
I think it helps tremendously. Just our kids, you know, that week last year off, I think hurt us more than anything. Just didn't know what we're supposed to do for practice. Should we take some days off? Should we not take days off? But just being able to get right back into another game week, I think is really going to help us out, you know, more than anything, where we don't really have to think about it too much and overthink it as a coaching staff and what are things that we can do, who are we going to play, who are we not going to play, but just knowing automatically who you're playing, I think is really going to help us. But just, you know, that experience, I mean, it's so much different. You know, you always play teams in your conference and you know exactly kind of what they're going to do, where now you really got to truly watch film and really study your opponent and figure out what they're doing, you know, offensively, defensively, on special teams. Your players, watching the players you're going to go against, is just to learn their techniques and fundamentals. And as a kid, the physical players, you're not a physical player, you're more of a finesse and fast. And I mean, all those little different things that go into it. So I think our kids will be more prepared. You know, we had a mandatory 6 hours of film a week, but you know, I told them that's not enough for playoffs. You know, we're talking 10 to 12 to even 20 hours of film study to really get to know your opponent. So I really think last year, just getting to that spot, and our kids, you know, a lot of these kids played in that game as well, is going to help us tremendously, just because of, it is a high stress. It is high. It's a different feel when you get to that level, and I think our kids will be ready this year.
I think I remember you saying after the game last year, just that intensity level, even as intense as the Northwest game was last year, and this year, this was off the charts even higher, which, I mean, those two were pretty high energy, high stress, high intensity games. I mean, everybody's good. And you look last year, a 5 and a 6 seed in in regionals played for the championship. Yep. So, I mean, the margin is pretty close. So I think everybody's got a chance, but it's just those little things, that intensity and make a big difference, and I remember you saying that last year, how hopefully your kids learn and get in this position again and learn how locked in and intense it is once you get to the playoffs.
It is. You just got to stay focused and locked in and really prepare yourself and really study your opponent, and it's all about preparation. I mean, we know you're going to practice hard. I mean, we know those things. We know you're going to make some plays, and it's also getting those games and getting some momentum right away. Right. You can't have any stupid mistakes, bad snaps, turnovers, giving up big plays defensively, giving up returns, those type of things. We have to make those plays, this year instead of letting the other team do it. And in field position, we got to take care of field position as well, because that was a big part of our loss last year.
Yeah.
I mean, Ferris State pinned us inside the 10 every single drive, it felt like, so it kind of handcuffs you. So I think just all that hand in hand, practice, seeing those things and being through, it's going to help us out this year.
Well, the Tigers will be in Indianapolis, Indiana, taking on UIndy, the Greyhounds, in the opening round. We will take a preview of the opponent when we return for our final segment here on Tiger Talk, recorded at Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room over the noon hour on Mondays. You can always order online at Old Chicago. It's at oldchicago.com, and they make your to-go orders a breeze. Old Chicago, your craft beer authority, north of the interstate in Hayes. Our final segment coming up next here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wurtenberger Construction.
As you plan for your business in 2018, advertising should be an important part of your growth strategy. Digital marketing puts your business in front of the right customers online. Advertising with the Hayes Post ensures your message will be viewed 1.5 million times a month, including 375,000 unique views a week. Are you ready to grow your business? Advertise with us today. It's affordable and it works. Call us today at 785-628-0467. Eagle Communications, our community connected.
Jacoby Williams tight end left and Hunter Butke to the right. Hand off to Tigner. Up the middle, breaks a tackle. First down, Weaves. There he goes. 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown. Fort Hays State, 36 yards for Charles Tigner. And he hesitated, found a crease, and it was gone. Touchdown Tigers with 6:38 to play. Now, nice run there by Charles, and he did it. Great patience, and the hole opened up, a little cutback, and he was in the secondary. It was fun to watch, and he had a good game. DJ Hickman had a good game. We're starting to see him a little bit more in open space and how he's even developed. That's pretty exciting with those two juniors in the backfield.
It is. It's fun to watch him play. We still got to work on the physicality of the run game, which I'm a big physical guy. I'm not a big guy, but I like.
Oh, you'd have been a fun running back to watch.
And getting after it and getting downhill and it's patience. A lot of times these guys they haven't been real patient and then letting the thing develop, and they're starting to learn that as the season's gone on. DJ's another one. He's transfer, still trying to learn exactly what we're doing offensively, and he's starting to pick it up pretty well. And Tigner's starting to really evolve and really starting to take ownership of his position and doing a good job and starting to become that leader in that group as well. So it was good to see those guys have some success. Good to see Blackman get in there and have some nice runs, and Hicks had some really nice runs as well.
He had one taken off the board because of a penalty, but that was a really nice run.
It was. It's good to see those guys get in there too, because they work their tails off every single day in practice. Don't get a lot of reps, and they play a lot of special teams, but those guys want to carry the ball too.
Yeah.
It was good to see those guys get in there and do that.
So you're a quarterback in high school, right?
Well, yeah.
But you'd have been a good running back if you got to play offense.
We were a running. We ran the option.
So you were kind of a running back.
The only pass I threw was to Jeremy Tooman, who was went to the Steelers, so it's pretty easy. Just throw it up and he goes and gets it. So it was pretty easy.
Remember Jeremy called a few of his games against Hayes. Yeah, it was fun. All right, UIndy, the Greyhounds, Great Lakes Valley Conference. I think 2012 is the first year that conference had football as a sport, and they've won it all but 1 year. They're making their 5th appearance in the playoffs in 7. They were a 2 seed and got beat at home last year, so obviously they're looking to avenge a bad taste in their mouth. Good football team. Look at them, very solid on defense. I mean, a lot of mirror and similarities between you guys and them, it looks like.
It is. You look at them and you look at us, and it's very, very similar. I mean, defensively, they kind of run a lot like we do defensively, and offensively they're going to line up in a lot of 11 personnel like we do. And they got 2 good running backs, and they got some great wide receivers. Their O-line's big and strong, and defensively they pursued the ball very well, and they hit you in the mouth. I mean, it's going to be a dogfight. I mean, they're a good football team, and we got our hands full.
You throw a little bit more, maybe a little more successful, and they're the top team as far as pass defense in their conference. You led the MIAA, but it seems like when they do throw, they throw for big gains, and it's very, very effective. One of the more pass-efficient teams in the country. Yeah,
they are. The quarterback does a good job. They got good route concepts. The receivers do a good job of getting open as well. And, we're going to mix some things up on them a little bit. And that's the thing about these 2 games. You just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know our conference. We don't know theirs. So when we kind of go against each other, just kind of, okay, so how are they really truly playing this? And you see it on film, but you still don't know with the kids in person and who you can really pick on because you just don't know the opponents that they're playing. So, when we get there, that first quarter is probably filling out process for coaches to see exactly where we want to attack. And, we'll have to figure that out when we get there. But I think off of film, and we got enough film to watch, because we get every single game, that we'll have a pretty good idea of what they're doing.
And one thing that stands out, their return game, they had a big punt return that kind of swung that game with Hillsdale last week. I think they've had 3 kickoff returns for touchdowns this year. Special teams are going to be really, really big in this one.
Yeah, it's important. You playoff game, it's very important. And in any game, it can win, lose you a ball game. So, we're going to be very sound in what we're doing, on special teams. Not make it too difficult, just make sure our kids know exactly what they're doing, fit in the right lanes on kickoff, punt, getting the punts where we need to get them and covering correctly and staying in our lanes as well, and then not letting them block a punt or, all those little things. And we got to get some big returns too. So, and Dante's going to be a big part of that. We got to use his leg, and anytime we get a chance to get points on the board, we're going to have to use him.
And obviously a little bit different. We're going to be flying to Indianapolis. You got to deal with all of that. It makes it, I know, busier for you guys, and the administration of Fort Hays State's going to do a good job of trying to handle that. But you guys as coaches, you got to deal with those things. So it makes it a little bit different week of preparation. I'm sure the challenge is to keep it as normal as possible for your players, so it feels just like a normal game for them.
Yeah, it is. We're going to stay all the way through Thursday. Friday, we'll leave on Friday. We'll get up in the morning on Friday and practice in the morning, get on a bus, head over to Salina, get on a plane in Salina, fly to Indianapolis, and then get off the bus and go eat like we normally do. And, they're asking us if we want to come to the field and walk through, and I was like, no, I don't want to, because we haven't done that anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
We'll wait till game day. We'll get there 2.5 hours before game day. Kids can get on the field then and kind of fill it out and see the atmosphere. But I want to keep it as similar as possible. This trip's just like any other trip. It's hour 15 to Salina, 3-hour flight to Indianapolis, so it's about 4 hours and 15 minutes. It might be one of the shorter trips we've had all year long.
It's like going to St. Joe.
It's just like going to St. Joe, so it won't be that bad. I think it's just our kids staying locked in and focused, understanding this is a business trip and we got to go take care of business.
All right, well, it's been a fun ride, 9-2, conference champions. You got to hoist another trophy on Saturday. We've done a lot of firsts. We've talked about it last year, even this year, a lot of firsts. First time back-to-back playoff appearances. The one thing that's not been checked off yet is a playoff win, and hopefully this Saturday will be that first one, and hopefully the first of many. You saw last year, we mentioned a 5 and a 6 played in the championship. It's anybody's ball game, but it seems like every year the parity's there every season. So who knows? You got to win that one. You win that one, who knows what it'll lead to?
Yeah, who knows? This first one's the most important, and we need to get that playoff win. We talk to our kids about all the time, expectations and standards, and beating last year's team. The record doesn't show it. We're still back in the playoffs, but we can get that playoff win and get to the second round. So that's huge. You never know. It depends on, that's why you play the game, and whoever plays best that day wins. And, we need to play well right now.
All right. Well, Coach, as always, we appreciate it. Have a great week of practice. Hopefully it warms up. Sounds like it should a little bit this week. And can't wait for Saturday in Indianapolis. We'll meet you there.
Thanks, Gerard. We'll see you.
There you go. That's head coach Chris Brown of the Fort Hays State Tigers. And again, a reminder, you can catch the video replay of Tiger Talk on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. It's on Eagle Cable Channel 14 and 614. And you can always watch it online, HaysPost.com. Just hover over that Eagle TV icon and top left corner, then click on Tiger Talk to watch the program anytime on Hays Post. Tiger Talk presented tonight by Haysmet Orthopedic Institute, part of the University of Kansas Health System, the Taco Shop, Adams Brown, Barron and Ball, Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, BTI, Horizon Appliance and Mattress, Valley Hope of Norton, and Eagle Communications, and of course presented by Old Chicago Pizza and Tap Room, your craft beer authority. It's Old Chicago, north of the interstate in Hayes. Serious Craft Brews, seriously good food will be on the air at 11 a.m. It's a 12 noon Central Time kick from Key Stadium in Indianapolis. The Tigers and UIndy, first round of the NCAA Division II playoffs. We certainly hope you can join us here on the Tiger Sports Network, and we'll talk to you again next Monday right here on Tiger Talk on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction.
That was another legend on 99 KZ Country. And yes, before that, we had a brand new artist. Your home for today's stars and the legends. We play real country. I'm Teresa Trapp. Weather, news, sports, it's all here. We're on Facebook, and there is a listen live link at hayespost.com. Dial us in on your radio at 99.5 FM. KHAZ, Real Country. 99 KZ Country.